So does sobriety require a spiritual solution? I hear you asking, where's God in all of this? In terms of recovery, recovering from healing, what is the role of a higher power or God? Now, it's a question that, people have commented and asked me to respond to, and I've been a little hesitant in discussing this, but I want to be really transparent in terms of my background, experience, my approach, um, and personally my experience that a higher power, that the universe has played in my own recovery. So, firstly, when we look at this channel, I'm looking at it from really understanding the latest research, the hard data on addiction and complex trauma, and really what it is, getting people to truly understand what it is and what recovery is in terms of healing in the fullest sense, and creating and finding that emotional safety. And then I also really want to talk about my own personal experience, hitting rock bottom multiple times, everything I lost, but how it got me to this point of discovering that I could use my suffering to help another, of giving back to the world in a more meaningful way. So there are a lot of topics here that I do discuss, but I don't discuss God or the universe overly so, because there is a free fellowship that discusses the solution of a higher power in a lot more detail, and I do not speak on behalf of that 12-step program. I will just say that in terms of facts, in terms of the data, there is evidence that shows without any doubt that prayers and faith are essential to healing. They, statistically give you a much better chance of healing from mental or physical, disease, disorder, whatever you're looking at. So there's the power of prayer and even like the biology of belief, which plays a really big part in why a higher power would be there. When we looked to the 12 steps, the founder of the 12 steps, defines the solution to addiction as a spiritual solution and spiritual awareness, which did come through an LSD experience. Again, something else I'd let somebody more experienced on that topic talk to, but they do, everyone who's looked at how do you recover from addiction has looked at what is God's part in this. And some people will say, unquestionably, it was 100% God, surrender, hiring it, handing it over to the higher power. Now, I think there's surrendering to the universe and a power greater to yourself than yourself has been very big for me. Because when I look at, say, when I wasn't sober, when I was in denial about the chaos that my addiction was causing, the pain that it was causing the people that I loved, when I looked at that, there was no humility in that. I thought I could control everything, just like I thought I could control life. I thought I could control people, places, and things. And I learned to surrender to the fact that I have no power over the molecule of alcohol, and I have no power over the universe, people, places, and things. And it's a game changer. It's a game changer in terms of recovery. It's a game changer in terms of changing your whole life and your whole approach and living a better life, having less suffering. So for me personally, handing over to a higher power, which for me is the universe, it's the collective consciousness, it's what we know about quantum physics and how we are all interconnected. My own other experiences outside of programs or clinical psychology, my own spiritual experiences have taught me there's something far greater than me, there's something far greater than us. And in terms of having faith and trust in that, that has brought me immense relief from the suffering of addiction, the ability to recover, to pick myself up again after a relapse. This is the reason I'm learning something from this. It's all in the future going to form a higher purpose, serve a higher purpose. And it has, with this YouTube channel alone, and looking at the people who are saying that, hearing these stories is helping them. So in terms of my own higher power, I give it up to the universe, and I give it up every day. And that, I actually follow Buddhist philosophy in terms of my own spiritual beliefs, but that also follows the lines of basic behavioral psychology. So that kind of aligns for me personally. But I do really respect people who have faith. I think you can, and it says it in the big book, you can get sober if you're agnostic or atheist. So, you know, there's whether you're agnostic, an atheist, spiritual, religious, whatever you are, God can or may not play a part in your own recovery. You can get sober without it, but I have to say, for me personally, it's been a lot easier, and not just easier day-to-day addiction recovery, but life, in having that trust in something greater than myself, and that humility that I don't know what God is, but I know I'm not it.